I found this metal clamp among my grandpa's tools. It attaches to a table and the end has an adjustable pronged tip. Does anyone know what this tool is? What you found is an old-style apple peeler and spiralizer, a kitchen tool that clamps to a table so the user can core, peel, and slice an apple in one motion. The pronged tip holds the apple in place while a hand crank turns the fruit against a peeling blade. Tools like this became popular in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, especially in American farm kitchens where large batches of apples were prepared for pies, cider, and preserves. I found this strange little item sitting on the bedside table at my friend's house while I was watching her dogs, and it's honestly creeping me out. Does anyone know what this is supposed to be? What you found is a plush-lined bedside eyeglasses holder, a small stand designed to keep glasses safe while you sleep. The soft interior protects the lenses from scratches, and the upright shape makes it easy to drop your glasses in without fumbling in the dark. Holders like this became popular as bedroom accessories in the late 20th century, when designers focused on small conveniences that helped people avoid knocking their glasses off a nightstand. Despite its unusual look, it is simply a practical way to keep eyewear within reach. I found this very heavy metal cabinet that belonged to my grandpa. It has many narrow drawers that slide out and hinge downward, and the units are made to stack. He used it for rock slabs, but I don't think that was its original purpose. Does anyone know what this was originally used for? What you found is a visible records filing cabinet, a storage system designed for index cards that flipped up for viewing when the drawer was opened. Each drawer originally held a metal frame that kept the cards flat when closed and lifted them into position when pulled out. Cabinets like this were known as Cardex units, named after the company that popularized the design. They were widely used in offices, hospitals, government departments, and archives where documents needed to be organized and accessed quickly. I found this handmade ceramic mug and saucer at a thrift store. The mug has a hole in the bottom that drains into the saucer, and the saucer itself has a little pour spout. It's about 6 inches tall. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a ceramic bacon cooker, a piece designed to let strips of bacon hang over the rim while they cook in the microwave or oven. As the bacon heats, the fat drips through the hole in the bottom of the mug and collects in the saucer. The small spout on the saucer makes it easy to discard the grease or save it for cooking. Potters began making handmade versions of these cookers in the late 20th century as a simple way to prepare bacon with less mess and without letting it sit in its own grease. While changing the altar decorations for Advent, I found 3 of these matching fabric pieces in a drawer. Each has an elastic loop at the top, and the sides are tacked together as if meant to cover something narrow. Does anyone know what they are? What you found is a maniple, a traditional liturgical vestment once worn by clergy in the Latin Rite of the Catholic Church, and sometimes in Anglo-Catholic and Lutheran services. It's a narrow embroidered band that hangs from the left forearm and matches the liturgical color of the other vestments used for Mass. The elastic loop on yours would have helped keep it in place over the alb. The maniple fell out of regular use after the mid-20th century, though older sets are still found in sacristies. It likely began as a practical cloth for wiping the priest's hands and face during worship. I found this plastic item in a box of advertising stationery from the 1950s or 60s. It's about 3.5 inches across, and the small red pieces sit on little hooks that can be moved from the front to the back. It appears to be from a furniture shop in Fitzroy, Melbourne. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a vintage Chopetta shopping list reminder, a small household tool made in Austria from the 1940s through the 1950s. It uses a circular plastic disc with preset household categories printed around the edge, and each category corresponds to a small hook. The red pins are moved to the front to show which items need to be purchased. The Chopetta was patented in the United Kingdom and distributed as a promotional giveaway for stores, which is why yours carries the name of a furniture shop in Fitzroy. I've noticed this small object hanging from certain streetlight poles along the highway, but not every pole has one. It has 2 oval pieces on each end and hangs just below the main light. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a Stockbridge damper, a device designed to reduce wind-induced vibrations in tall, slender structures such as streetlight poles and power lines. It consists of two weighted oval masses attached to a short, flexible rod that is clamped to the pole. This arrangement helps absorb and dissipate the energy created when wind makes the pole oscillate. The design was developed in the 1920s by George H. Stockbridge, an engineer with Southern California Edison, and the patent was granted in 1928. These dampers are installed only where vibration levels are high, which is why not every pole has one. I found several of these metal pieces at a military shooting range, each one shaped like an open loop with a sharp pin in the center. The range is used for everything from grenades to rifles and machine guns, yet no one there could say for sure what they belonged to. Does anyone know what this object is? What you found is a safety pin from a 120mm mortar round. This small metal piece is removed before firing to arm the fuse and make the round ready for launch. It plays a critical role because it keeps the fuse inert during storage and transport. The 120mm mortar has been used for decades as a heavy infantry weapon for indirect fire support, and many rounds use the M734 fuse, which provides several detonation settings such as proximity, near surface, impact, and delay. These pins are discarded once the round is fired, which is why several can be found on active ranges. I found this dark red glass cylinder with a metal cap and an inscription on the side. It weighs about 300 grams and looks like it might have been part of something older. Does anyone know what this object is? What you found is an antique red safe light used in darkrooms for developing black and white film and photographic paper. The deep red glass filters the light so it illuminates the workspace without exposing or damaging the film. During processing, photographers moved the exposed film or paper through chemical baths, such as developer, stop rinse and fixer, and a safe light like this allowed them to see their work without risking the image. Companies in Europe produced many versions of these in the early 20th century. I noticed this large device mounted on a railway overpass in the United Kingdom. It's about 2 feet tall, makes a loud fan-like sound, and has 2 glass lenses or windows underneath. It's positioned directly above the electric cables on the track. Does anyone know what this is? What you found is a pantograph condition monitoring system, a device used by railway operators to inspect train current collectors in real time. As trains pass underneath, the unit uses cameras and laser sensors to scan the pantograph for cracks, uneven wear, or other defects. Detecting damage early helps prevent excessive wear on the overhead wires and reduces the chance of costly or dangerous failures. Systems like this became common in the late 20th and early 21st centuries as rail networks adopted automated safety technology to reduce maintenance risks and improve reliability. I found this heavy metal object that has been sitting on a mantelpiece for years, and no one seems to know where it came from. It has a textured, segmented body and a cylindrical top with several holes. What you found is a Type 97 hand grenade, the standard fragmentation grenade used by the Imperial Japanese Army and Navy during World War II. Introduced in 1937 as an upgrade to the earlier Type 91, it had a shorter fuse delay of about 4 to 5 seconds and was meant to be thrown by hand. Its segmented metal body was designed to break apart into shrapnel, and soldiers armed it by striking the top against a hard surface to ignite the fuse. Many veterans describe the design as unreliable, and surviving examples today can still be dangerous. If this is a real grenade, it should not be handled. Old ordnance can become unstable, and local authorities should be contacted for safe disposal. I found this instrument in my garage. It sits inside a dense wooden box about 5 inches tall and 3 inches wide, with a latch that holds the lid shut. The lid is about an inch deep to make room for the gauge and buttons inside. Does anyone know what this device is? What you found is a motorized electromechanical timer, a device used before electronic circuits and transistors became common. Instead of digital components, older systems relied on small motors, relays, and mechanical switches to measure short-time intervals. This timer would have been wired into a circuit to record how long a switch stayed engaged, or to control the timing between 2 activations. Instruments like this were used in early industrial equipment, and in systems such as ignition testing or alternator calibration. The dense wooden box protected the mechanism and made it easy to transport and store. I came across this small metal part that looks like it once belonged to a larger item. It's roughly the size of a finger, made of what seems to be aluminum, and has decorative engravings on the outside. I can't figure out what it might have come from. Does anyone know what this object is? What you found is the cast metal receiver shell from a vintage cap gun, most likely from a toy rifle. The decorative engravings and lightweight alloy were typical of cap guns made from the 1950s through the 1970s, when manufacturers used zinc or aluminum castings to imitate real firearm parts. Inside, the raised posts and channels once held the spring-loaded mechanism that struck paper or plastic caps to create a popping sound. These toys were widely sold in Western-themed sets, and were popular with children who played cowboys and adventure games. I found this round object attached to the glass next to our office door. The top unscrews, it doesn't feel electronic, and no one here seems to know what it's for. Someone suggested it might be a knock sensor, but I'm not sure. What you found is a nameplate holder, a simple mechanical mount used to display the occupant's name outside an office. The two discs clamp together through the glass, and loosening the outer piece lets you slide a small nameplate between them. Tightening it holds the plate securely in place without adhesives or screws. Systems like this became common in modern office buildings where glass walls and partitions made traditional mounting difficult. In the last video, I asked you to identify this blue glass item. It's a whale oil lamp that's missing the top connector and the wick. These lamps were commonly used in the 18th and 19th centuries, and the missing top piece would normally hold the wick in place while the oil burned. I really appreciate everyone who shared their guesses in the comments. It helps the video reach more people and allows the channel to grow. Now I want to invite you to identify another unusual object. What do you think this item is? Leave your guesses in the comments and I'll reveal the answer in the next video. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you found it interesting. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and consider subscribing. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm and lets more people discover the channel. Thanks again, and see you next time.